Thaddeus. We're going to talk about culture blueprint, building a team that people love to join and hate to leave. So I'm going to do a couple things, and then I'm going to probably adapt this a little bit based off of who we have in the room for it. So, oh my bad, I got to make sure that I'm on the actual right screen. There we go, from my clicker. So we got an agenda today. We're going to talk about culture at its core and what it means. If this decides to work, there we go. We've got a workbook overview, so I do have a little bit of a workbook here for you guys, unless you want to take notes in your notebook. Sometimes I like these, and I also hate these at the same time because then you lose them. So, but I can also get you guys a digital copy as well. There's a link for that at the end. By the way, I will also share all of my stuff with you at the end. There is a QR code, so you don't have to worry about taking photos of the slides or anything. You get access to the slides, you get access to the workbook, you get access to the Excel sheet. And I got a bonus for you guys, an SEO optimization checklist. So, cool. All right. So we're going to talk about hiring and firing. We're going to talk about the GWC Analyzer, and we'll talk about a vivid vision, and away we go. So I do have a couple ground rules. Yes, this is almost like school all over again with some ground rules. They're actually pretty easy ground rules. So this is a workshop, okay? The other part, though, is that I want it to be interactive. If you have a question, don't just wait to the end. Just raise your hand. Don't even raise your hand. Just ask the question and interrupt me. Feel free to do that. Because I want to have the questions. Chances are, if you have a question, somebody else probably has the exact same question as you, okay? So that's one of our rules in our organization is ask questions. Actually, my grade 9 teacher told me this. He said, there are no such things as stupid questions, just stupid people who don't ask questions. And it stuck with me forever, and it's kind of formed one of the bases of our organization, and that's it, okay? So when we think about culture, when you see these two images on the screen, you have Amazon and desks with doors put together from Home Depot, right? Or, I've got a laser pointer, or you can have yoga and puppies. Which do you think it is? Do you think it's option A, this, or option B, this? What do you guys think? A? Hands for A. So which one do you think is a better cultural piece? Better culture, Amazon with the door desks, or yoga puppies? You're gonna go with puppies? Who thinks puppies? And who thinks Amazon? I'll get to that later. Hold you in suspense. So who am I? So I built On Purpose Media. We're a digital marketing agency for HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, garage door contractors. I discovered a big gap, and so I've been doing this for just over 6.5 years. And one of the things that I found is that contractors hate marketing agencies because they don't understand the business, or just hate marketing agencies in general because they got burned somewhere along the lines. Don't worry, I'm not here to pitch you guys on marketing. I'm here to talk about culture. So we are a 7-figure business. We use proven strategies to get phone calls, not just clicks, okay? And then I believe in transparency. When we mess up, we own it. And the last part is I'm a steward for a great culture. I have worked in great organizations that have great cultures. I have worked in poor organizations that have poor cultures, and anywhere in between. In fact, one of the jobs that I really liked the most was in the passenger elevator industry. Yes, I have to say passenger elevator industry. I'm from Canada, and where I'm at is in Alberta, which is straight north of Montana, prairies, farmland, grain elevators. So when I used to tell people the elevator industry, like, oh, so like grain elevators? I'm like, no, passenger elevator industry. Loved the industry, hated the culture. And so I left. Okay. And I've got over a decade in marketing. So why are you wondering why a digital marketing agency guy is talking to you guys about culture? Okay. I don't know if you've tried to figure that out of, okay, well, he's talking about culture when he's digital marketing. Well, guess what? I run a business, just like I'm assuming all of you run a business or in a position for that. But I actually asked my team why they love On Purpose Media, OPM for short, okay? And I'll read some of these. I love the trust the management has given me and the whole team. Everyone at OPM is supportive in helping me achieve goals, both personally and professionally, because it encourages you to have a balance between work and life outside of it. Love OPM because it's a company that truly cares. They take care of their staff's well-being first so that we can better help out our client and team. It's hard to create a culture in a virtual world, so we're a fully remote organization, by the way. But I would argue that we have one of the best cultures I have seen. Going to work is fun. The core values have taught me the importance of self-accountability in all areas of my life. I can't wait till I get to the last one. It actually brought a tear to my eye the first time I read it. So the company's well-structured approach not only focuses on client growth, but also prioritizes personal development, creating a space where everyone thrives together. Try to create a culture in a virtual world, but I'd argue one of the best cultures I've seen. Oh, that's a repeat, I guess. I hit the backwards button. I love OPM because working here has made me a better person in my professional life, personal growth, and my family life, which has truly been a humbling experience. And this one. That was the one I read this. When somebody told me that, I'm like, Jesus, we figured it out, right? We've got the culture nailed. So I want to ask a question. How many people here are agencies? Because I know there's a lot of agencies in there. Any agencies? 0. Perfect. I love it. Brick and mortar? Yeah. So do we have any home services? A couple home services. I know we had a vet. We had a bank. What type of industries do we have? Just so I can get an idea. Logistics, trucking? Yeah.
I work for a lab company.
Okay, cool. Yeah. What about you?
Tax strategy.
Tax strategist? Gotcha. Okay. Same. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, medical clinics, cool. Plumbing HVAC, right up my alley. Commercial janitorial. Staffing and consulting, good stuff. Okay, cool. Moving business. Okay. And we talked vet clinic, yeah, an emergency vet. We got a bank, and then excavating, cool. Employee size, 10 and under. Heads up, 10 and under. Okay, 11 to 20. Okay, 20 plus, 21 plus. Okay. Anybody over 50? Anybody over 100? I know you're like 1,000. So how many do you guys have? About 1,000? Okay, cool. So a good mix of people in here in terms of the group size, which is what I love. Love the types of industries as well in here. I am. So I'm a big fan of this 3P framework. Okay, the 3P framework this was incorrect in the place that I disliked working at. So you have people, you have product, and you have price. Has anybody ever heard of this before? People, product, price, right? See, what happens in a lot of organizations is this one here, this price thing, they focus on that first. And then they focus on product, and then they worry about people last. That organization I mentioned that I hated working at, I remember going into the boss's office one day. So again, if you ever has anybody ever dropped their keys in like an elevator before? Dropped it to the bottom? Well, if you do, traditionally the elevator company has to come out and they charge you $250, $300 to get your keys out. So I came up with an idea. I said, hey, why don't, instead of charging people, why don't we donate to a charity every time this happens? And we probably had 100 of them in a year. He's like, well, what do you think our shareholders would think of that? I'm like, I think the shareholders would love it. We're doing something great for the community. He's like, no, they care about profit. That's all they care about. So we're not doing it. That's a stupid idea, Thad. I'm like, cool. All right, thanks. So I walked away and I'm like, all right, I think it's time to find another job. So now when you actually think about this, when you think about if you build the foundation of people first, what happens to your product? Your product becomes better. The product is relevant. Let's use heating and air conditioning as an example. It's an air conditioner. You have different brands. You have Lennox, you have Trane. People can get into an argument of the brands that you serve, but guess what? It cools the house down, your furnace heats the house. Product isn't really anything special, but how can some companies charge $15,000 to replace your air conditioner? How come some can only charge $8,000? This line right here is the people, right? So you take care of the people, they then have a better product, and then guess what you can do for your price? You get to charge more. What happens when you charge more? You get better margins. But it all stems off the backs of people. Not necessarily backs in like a bad way, right? In the good way to be able to get people bought into what you do, okay? How many people have heard this quote before? Culture eats strategy for lunch. Yeah? I think a lot of people have heard that. And I would agree with that because culture really is the biggest part, the biggest mover for it, okay? So at its core, I believe a good culture is cult-like and it's provocative, okay? Provocative. We'll come to that. So we come back to this question. Is it yoga, the puppies, or is it Amazon? Okay. And it's Amazon. Okay. Why is this culture and why is the other part not? Now, I will probably also say that the other part is also partly culture, right? But when you think about Amazon, who knows this story of why Amazon has desks, right? That are made out of, this is a door in 4x4s and brackets. That's it. That's how they originally started their desks, because they were in a garage. And they're like, we need to build desks. We need to do it cheap as possible. So they went over to Home Depot, they bought a flat door, they bought brackets, they bought 4x4s, and they bought screws, and they put their desks together. And that was their desks. In fact, I have heard to this day that these desks still exist in Amazon in some circles, in some places. It's still part of their foundational culture, right? But it's also formed the basis when you look at Amazon and what they're able to do is be able to charge less for their people because they can save money on things that aren't needed. They don't need fancy desks, and they pass those savings on to the consumer, right? Again, foundational bedrock of their culture. I would also say that, you know what, having this as part of your organization too, probably a good thing to be able to have some balance in that, okay? All right. Key concept, by the way, is making a culture fun. If your workplace isn't fun, people don't really want to go there, right? And so you want to try to be able to make it fun. So biggest question is, how do you do it? How do you make it fun? How do you create a good culture? In my opinion, it's about core values and vivid vision. Okay? So I do have a workbook, and we will hand these out. If you want to go through it, if you want to be interactive with it, if you just want to have it and not do anything with it, then sure, I'll give you one to pass behind you there as well. So hand one of those back there. And for backwards for you guys there, for one. Oop. If anybody wants more, I have a few extra copies. The black and white on the inside because the UPS store messed up. So, all right. Core value, vivid visions, okay? So, my opinion, core values are ethics and principles that guide your decisions and actions inside your business. Core values. How many people have good core values in their organization, you think? Cool. Who wants to list off their core values? Sure.
Resourcefulness.
Cool. All right. Growth, resourcefulness, integrity, teamwork. Anybody else? I know we talked about yours a little bit. Anybody else want to list off theirs? No takers? Everybody's a little shy today? It's okay. I don't bite. Oh, I turned it off again. All right. I'm sure I didn't miss anything. So, core values. Let me ask a better question. How many people have core values? Everybody has core values, okay? So in here in the workbook, there's obviously some marks to be able to check off on this. Again, I'm actually genuinely curious when you guys go through this to be able to check off some of these as we get through, right? Our culture is clear and felt daily, right? I mean, that's part of, do you have them, right? Do you know them, right? Do you know your core values crystal clear? Like the gentleman in the back, he's thrown off those pretty quickly. If you don't know with that, you found yours, but did you know them off the top of your head? No. So if you don't know, I mean, I'm probably gonna, by the way, if I make you feel poorly by way of your core values, I'm sorry, that's not the intent on this, but it's also part of the idea of why I believe most organizations miss the mark on core values and vivid vision, and then the team doesn't buy into anything that the company wants to do. Okay? So the question,
Really know them, but 4 years.
Right.
And so it's like nobody knew about it. We have them all.
Yep. Yep.
And then we moved, and now they're on the wall for the last year. I need to put them on the wall.
Yes. And the other part is repeating. I'm talking ahead of myself, but if you don't know your core values in like off the top of your head, you think your team knows your core values off the top of their head? Probably not, right? And that's the thing, is if you don't know them, then the next question is, does everyone know them? Well, the answer would be no, right? And so you have to make sure that they understand these core values so they can tie into the overarching part of the business. The other part is, do you repeat them often? How often do you repeat your core values in your organization? Daily to every single team, like into like a safety meeting, right? Sure. What about your existing employees? Yeah, monthly calls, one-on-ones. Yeah. Anybody else similar? Yeah, it's fair. So anybody else similar? Like, do you repeat them weekly at all? Anybody repeat their core values weekly on like a safety meeting or a team meeting? Other than us? How's that been for you? Yeah? Yeah, great idea too. Yes. Yep.
Clearly accomplished core value.
Fine. Cool. Good guy. Yes. Yep. Yeah, we did that a lot actually when we first came up with the new core values. We actually changed one of our core values recently, and we always try to highlight, weekly core value, a win from somebody in the team as well. And so I think it's easier to do in person for what you guys do, or like a value card where some organizations have that, where they give the person a card and they get like a $5 gift card because, hey, you did this core value really well this week, and boom, then you give them a gift card for it. Then it buys people into the totality of the core values. Easier to do when you're in person, very tough to do in a remote agency in a remote world, which is what we are. So cool. Do you hire against your core values? Right? How many people hire against their core values? Right? I know we do. We have actually a 2-part interview. We never hire on the first interview. Our first interview is generally a cultural assessment fit to make sure that they're going to fit our culture. A little bit of skills baked in. Second interview, skills. I mean, they also apply in our entire hiring process, and I'll get to that. But you also fire against your core values. Right? How many people have that one person that just never exemplifies all your core values that you kept too long in your business? Guilty.
You like hired someone.
Yeah.
How's the work?
Yeah.
And so we can go.
Yep.
That was a good mark.
Yes. Yeah, everybody makes those mistakes. I mean, in fact, we just made one in January. We hired somebody, and then a week later, we had to terminate that person. Like a week in, where it's like not fit.
More valid. Really know people. Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah. There he is really easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're hiring.
It is. It is, because you got to read between the lines, right? And so, but the other part is people will, if you, and so our hiring process is a little bit different. And so, and I think a lot of organizations can do this. And so what we found works really well for people self-selecting out against the core values is we have a hiring video. And so we have a hiring funnel that we do, and I believe every organization could do this to some level, not maybe as in-depth as what we have. So they come onto a page, they have a video that they watch. It's a 3-minute video of me talking about our core values. At the end of that video, I say the secret passphrase is unicorn. You're gonna wanna write that down. You're gonna need it later in the hiring process. I'll repeat it once. It's at the very end of the video. Then they go into their application. Then they go, after the application, they get redirected to a questionnaire page where we ask skill-based questions. Guess what the very last question is on that questionnaire? What's the secret passphrase from the first video? Like, I sometimes when I'm bored and I want to laugh, I look to see what people wrote for answers. People put lemonade. Like, where does lemonade fit into it? Like, we have pink shirts, man. Like, maybe I guess pink lemonade instead of like yellow lemonade, right? Like, our branding is pink. And so it's just, when you do that, I found that people have naturally self-selected out. So when we get to the actual interview process itself, they already love our core values. They're already bought into what we do. And then some people, I will get messages on Indeed, and they're like, I don't like your core values. I'm like, cool, Stu. Like, thanks for sending that. Like, great, right? And just having this idea to be able to put it out there in just different ways for more people to see in advance to the hiring.
So how do you navigate if you have a high producer or someone who is very competent in their role, but they don't align with your most important value?
I would still terminate them. Yeah, the thing is, you think about this in I think a lot of people, and I've made this mistake too, of like keeping a top producer for too long. But when you remove the top producer because they're a bad cultural fit, guess what the rest of the team does? Thank you for removing that person, right? And they step up because you actually took the liberty to say, okay, well, you're not a good cultural fit. You don't match our core values. You took the big decision of removing somebody from the organization, even if they're a top producer. Okay. I bought a business partner out a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, November 2024. And I was scared by the decision. I'm like, what if my team like falls and one of my team craters, because he was a big part and intertwined with a lot of the individuals, but he wasn't embodying our core values. Part of the reason why I bought him out. You know what my team said after? After it was all said and done, the paper was signed, I finally told him that day was gone. He's like, thank you for doing that. That must have been one of the most toughest decisions that you've ever had to do. But thank you so much for upholding your guys' core values.
Create your core values that he then did not implement.
Yes. Yeah. So, but yeah, I was, again, do you actually live them, right? I'm a fan of core values being able to be lived personally and professionally. Can your team take those core values home with you? Can they live them in their own personal life? Because guess what? If they can live them in their personal life, if they mean something there, guess what they can do at work? They can live them too. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
that was down.
Mhm.
The core values.
Yeah, and we're going to talk something a little bit later about the GWC Analyzer. I don't know, is anybody familiar with EOS or the Entrepreneur's Operating System? Does anybody run on EOS at all? Couple, kind of, right? So the Entrepreneur's Operating System is simple, and I'm not going to, I don't want to scroll down a big long talk. I think every organization should look to run on it. What they say is, okay, you can have a yearly goal. Well, how often do you actually hit the yearly goal if you focus on the entire year? Not very often. They found that the human brain can function in look for 90-day windows. 90-day chunks is what you can actually focus on. After 90 days, you start to get squirrely and you lose focus. So in the EOS world, you take your yearly goals and then you break down in 90-day chunks. Okay. But then one step further is you break down weekly KPIs. And so you have a weekly KPI that people need to hit. I'm a fan, in my opinion, is that A players, true A players, want to be scorecarded on great KPIs. They want to hit those KPIs. They want to know that they're performing. I love the appreciation at work, by the way. I love what they talked about earlier today with JC and Dr. Attaway. The one part that I would go further is that the A players, while those are great things, A players want to know that their performance is making a difference. And they want to be able to be measured against their performance. You take a B player, they don't care. C players are going to hide under those scorecards and they're going to leave. And they're going to self-select out anyways when you have a good culture. Okay? That's just my side. I was thinking about that when they were giving their talk today. So these are our core values in our organization. And so if you don't have a document that looks like this, no worries. It's, in my opinion, I think that these, if you have honesty and integrity, no offense, I think that those are throwaway words, in my opinion, okay, for a core value in and of itself. When we first started, guess what our 3 core values were? Honesty, transparency, integrity. Those were our first 3 core values when we created our organization. So I was in that exact same boat. And then we got thinking like, okay, well, what are better ways? How can people rally around a cause? Well, guess what? Do what's right, not what's easy means. It means honesty, it means integrity, it means transparency. We've just put a functional word behind it. Committed to excellence. It's the same thing as doing what's right in a sense. But committed to excellence, now they're actually wanting to work towards being an excellent human being. But we've also put, AI helped write these. Okay. By the way, it's not just us, right? Use AI to help write these. And then we have being resourceful as our 3rd core value. We have 2 more. Being resourceful essentially finds, you don't need to go ask somebody a question. If you're resourceful enough, you can go find the answer yourself. YouTube University, right? But I think there's so much information out there, right? Everybody has access to the exact same information that everybody else has. Why do some people do it and some people don't? Well, execution and resourcefulness. Okay. And then our other 2 core values is purpose-driven, being part of something bigger than yourself, hence the name On Purpose Media. And then the fail forward. We actually changed this about a year ago. We changed to fail forward. We used to have unconventional thinking as our core value, okay? Unconventional thinking. And we realized that when we're rating our team members, guess what happened? We were rating a lot of our team members really low on unconventional thinking because not everybody's an unconventional thought process. Not everybody's an unconventional thinker. However, everybody can learn how to fail forward. So we changed our core value. Okay? How often do you guys review your core values? Anybody review their core values quarterly with the team, with your leadership group? Anyone? Yeah. You gotta review and say, hey, are these core values our core values? Yeah. Annually, you're on EOS, so you do it definitely quarterly. It's part of the EOS framework. On the quarterly meetings, you review your core values. Hey, are our core values still our core values? That's how we realized fail forward was a better core value than unconventional thinking. We changed it. Right? Some people set it at the very first day of their business and then they ignore it and they never come back to their core values again. Completely fine. I would encourage every single one of you to go back with your leadership group or your other business partner or your owners, whoever, and actually review your core values. You want to know how we came up with ours? Okay. We sat down and we said, okay, who are our top performing employees? Who are our top performing team members? Let's take a look at them. And then what did we do? We brainstormed every single thing that we like about them. What do we like about this person? 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 I think we had ended up 60 words, 70 words on a piece on a whiteboard. And then we said, okay, well, how can we combine some of these? And we combined. We got the list down to like 30. And we sat there and then we combined again. How can we combine these even further? Are there things that represent the same thing? We can compress them even further. We got down to 10. We're like, dang, hold on. How can we compress them even further? We got down to 6. We're like, okay, we got to cut one because I like odd numbers, in my opinion, for core values. Just me personally, like if you have 4, cool, whatever. I wanted 5 in our business. And so we compressed it down further. We got to 5 core values. But what we had was 15 words that describe the core value. So what did we do? We just turned to ChatGPT. Hey, help us come up with a core value based off of these. And that's how we ended up doing these, right? And then once we had those, we had this embodiment that we've had underneath for it. Okay. So I think I've kind of lost track of the workbook already on this part. Because I skipped ahead on why culture matters. I forgot about the checklist. So our culture is clear, felt daily. We make it fun and on purpose. Leaders set the tone consistently. Score your culture today if you want. And then what makes that score, what makes your score that number? What would make a score higher? I'm not really worried too much about that page, but I am curious on this core values page. Now that we've kind of went through this, the reality check, select all and apply. We have our core values written down. Check it off if you have it. We have our core values visible for all to see daily. Everyone on the team knows them, right? We hire against them, we fire against them. I live them inside and outside work. You notice how it is in our team? It's I, as in you, the owner of the business, or you, the manager in the organization. Do you live those core values inside and outside of work? Okay. Leaders communicate core values in random conversations, one-on-ones, weekly team meetings, quarterly state of the company. I'm actually curious, now that you've checked those off, or if you've mentally checked those off, how many scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oh, there's 10. How many scored 7 or more on there? Okay. 1. How many scored 5 to 7? How many scored 3 or less? And that's okay, that's why we're here, right? Okay. Now, I'm actually curious. So this is kind of a workshop style. I'll take a moment. So now that you've heard me talk a little bit about this, I'm curious for you to write down. Take the time. Do it right now. One of the biggest things that I find at events is when people go through and they actually don't do the work from the sessions that they're in. So this is a workshop session. We still got an hour left. Yeah, let's write it down. What are your top 3 areas for improvement? Write it down right now. Take some time. All right, if you've got your 3, then action plan. What are you going to do today to improve them? Think through it. Could be as simple as, I'm going to start repeating my core values on a weekly meeting. If you don't have a weekly meeting, then whenever your daily stand-ups are, if you have those, one-on-one conversations, I'm going to go take my core values and put them back on the wall, right? That's an easy one, right? And thinking through that action plan and how you can actually communicate those more. It could be that, hey, I don't like our core values after Thad showed me his. By the way, I introduced myself as Thaddeus. I call myself Thad after that. So in case you're wondering why I said Thad, not my full name, Thaddeus. So that could be your action plan. It could be, I want to review them. I need to create them. Anywhere in between. Anybody want to share what their action plan is going to be? You don't have to if you don't want to. But if anybody does, I mean, this is interactive. This is for you. Okay. So you're going to go back to this. Yep.
What is more? We are implementing a lot of it. For hoping the AI is going to take over a lot of that admin stuff we're doing to our
Sure.
super important for them to understand that, what we're trying to do is not replace them at all. It's actually, we want to focus more on their client. In order to do that, we've got to either hire a lot more people or implement a lot.
Yep.
And I think AI is actually the way to go because we get more people, you're less productive.
Yep. Yeah, I have lots of thoughts on the AI. We're actually in Cloud Cowork right now in building out an AI assistant for every one of our team members. That's my next 90-day goal, is to be able to build that out, to be able to level them up. They generally, most employees, of their work, 60% is administrative, mundane garbage, and 40% is actual work. And so if you could reduce their administrative tasks by 50%, you've just freed up an additional 30% of productivity. Yes. Yep.
It's just such a
Yeah, it's such a great aspect to be able to do it and doing it the right way. So anybody else want to share what their action plans are? Going one? You want to share? You. I don't get your name. I don't know anybody's names here, but yeah, cool. All right. Let's jump into hiring against them. Okay. I kind of talked a little bit already. I got to put the cart before the horse on here. It starts in the recruiting process, right? I mentioned that hiring funnel. If anybody wants a hiring funnel, you have my contact info at the end. I can just send you the link to see what we do. Obviously, it's a little bit caveated to our digital agency. I can send your operations manager one as well, because it's the same process. It shows you the video and kind of what we're doing in the process. To be able to gate that, I think every single role could have some gated questions, in my opinion. I actually don't see the resumes that of people that don't pay attention in the hiring process, because I want people who actually pay attention to it. And so we disqualify based off of the secret passphrase, right? So if they don't answer that, I don't see their resume. They didn't pay attention, didn't watch the video, don't want them. Based off of years of experience. So if we're looking for somebody that has 4+ years or 2+ years, anybody that's green that doesn't have the experience, we don't see them. Okay. And then there's a few other ones that we could do based off of specific roles. So for sales, for example, if they wanted somebody that had 2 years of digital marketing sales experience, but somebody didn't have that, I'm not going to see their resume. A couple of those gated things I think are smart, because if anybody has done a lot of you're in the recruiting, right? You probably see it all the time, the amount of people that just speed apply on Indeed, and then you're like, what the heck? I'm like, nah, I don't even want that. So out of 100 resumes that we get, I probably look at 10. Of those 10, I probably schedule half those for an interview. And it usually takes us 10 to 15 interviews to hire one person in our business. And so that's just what we found with the hiring process and gating that. But we also do it against our core values, right? So then it moves to the interview from there. And I mentioned those two parts beforehand on the interviews. And we actually ask core value-based questions in the interview to see how they align with our core values. Okay. Again, we want to ask core value-based questions in the interview to see how they align with our core values. You can only do that once you have your good core values defined, okay? So one of the questions that we ask is, what was the last problem you solved via YouTube? Guess what core value that relates to? Being resourceful, okay? In here, another one, if money were unlimited, what would you do? I love that question, but it's also two parts. And because in the early in the interview, I asked them what motivates them. Right? I want to hear what motivates them. And then I ask that secondary question of, if money were unlimited, what would you do? I want to see if there's a connection between their purpose, right? See if they're purpose driven. Oftentimes they say what motivates them, and then they say, if money were unlimited, what would they do? Or completely wildly different answers. Well, okay, maybe you're lying either somewhere in your interview, or your purpose isn't clearly defined. Most often than not, the people that we hire, there's a connection between that question and that other question. I also love one question in interviews. I think everybody should ask this question, is describe yourself in the third person. It is the very first question that I ask in an interview. Have you ever been asked that question before? Yes. Yeah. I love it. I love it because what it encourages is this ability for them to quick think, and can they actually answer it in the right way for it. And it's hilarious hearing some of the answers, like watching people, they're like, okay, what's the person again? That doesn't happen very often, but it's funny watching that and then having the answers come out of it, because it pivots them. And it actually, in my opinion, makes for a better interview when you ask that right off the bat. Why? Because now they've got to think critically right off the bat, and then it disarms them a little bit, because they're like, wait, what? I got it. And then they're not thinking about their nerves, because they're thinking about, how do I answer this consistently in the third person? It's funny, you watch people like slip out, slip back in, and slip out and slip back in, and some people just don't even talk in the third person. You're like, Okay, clearly you don't pay attention to the question. And that's the other part of that, committed to excellence, right? Those are just a couple examples. I mean, we've got more that we bake in depending on our core values. I don't want to give them all because they're unique to us and our core values, right? You have to find your own that match your guys' core values and put those in there. If you're confused on where to go, well, guess what? AI can help you out with that, right? Hey, these are the core values. Can you help me find some interview questions to be able to align with those a little bit better so I can reassess against my core values, okay? But it starts with having those core values defined in the first place, okay? So if you guys want, we can take some time, create 2 to 3 questions that you can use in interviews to align with your core values. If we want to go that far, if you're still like, well, maybe I got to redo my core values or I don't really know them, or maybe after seeing those, I'm going to redo those and those questions are relevant to me at this current moment in time, then don't do it. But I'd be curious to see if anybody can come up with any, off the bat. Do you guys do any of this? Like any of the questions against core values? Yep. 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 Similar process. Yeah, it's a long process. Yeah, that it probably results in the right people in the business. Yep. So how many people just do 1 interview and they're done? Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes there are sometimes, by the way, those people that you have that first interview with, I'm like, yeah, I don't care what the rest of it says. I want to hire you today, but I still run the playbook and I still run the process for it. And so I would encourage a 2-step process on that because you can generally cultural fit. And that's, again, my personal preference, right? On hiring is that 2-stage interview because you can do that cultural thing. But we also ask those skill questions, right? Like if I'm hiring somebody for SEO, I'm gonna ask them 3, 5, 6, 7 questions on SEO in the questionnaire because I want to make sure that they understand SEO. And by the way, I can spot AI answers in those questions like that, and it's pretty easy for that to be able to spot those. And generally, I mean, you know what? I actually don't care if people use AI in the application process. Because if they're good and their video is good, and that's the other thing that we do. They have to submit a 1-minute video. Sort of remote world. The reason that they have to submit a 1-minute video in their hiring process is because I want to make sure that they're okay on camera. And we do hire some people from Latin America. I want to make sure that I can understand their accent. That's it. And so even when I hire people in North America, they still have to put the 1-minute video in there because it's work. I want them to work to apply at our organization. And everybody that gets on the interview is like, man, I love you guys' core values. I love your organization. That hiring process is really tough. Man, I can't wait to work here. If you gate things, people want to work there. It's weird. I don't know why, but when you gate it, they do.
Really?
Yep.
Walk the door.
Yeah, exactly. And I get some people that respond back like, oh, you want to gate people based off of how I look and yada yada. I'm like, no, I don't really care. Like, I really don't. You know what our diversity policy is at On Purpose Media? Are you really good at what you do? Cool, you're hired. Like, don't care. I don't care what color a person's skin is, where they live, or anything. Are you really good at what you do? Cool. Guess what that naturally does in an organization? Creates diversity. Right. And that comes from a previous organization that I worked at. They didn't have a diversity policy. They just hired whoever was the best at what they could do. And you naturally get a diverse crowd into your business. But that interview portion, like that selfie video, it will self-select. It will self-select.
We're never going to get up.
Okay.
I have very they have to have enough of our doctors or they're very specific. So it doesn't mean that they still need.
Yep.
We have a high demand of me with very few work. That's one thing. Like, say, oh, you don't hear around us probably like go back to that.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Yeah. Yep.
That doesn't mean we just hire anybody that walks through the door.
Yep.
It just means that's an output. I may or may not be.
Yeah. Well, and then look, there's nuances to everything, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Deep into that market because you're the second person that I've talked to that is hiring outside the United States
Yep.
for work.
Now, would that be so that to go back to the first one, the video? If you don't think that works in your business, then don't do it, guys. Right? Like that's just yes, it's a great example. Like, look, what I do isn't cookie cutter for everybody in the hiring process, right? You don't want to necessarily put up walls and gates to that, but I'm hiring from North and South America. Like I don't even know the population of combined of Latin America and North America. Like I have a wide population to draw from because it doesn't matter where they live. They can be remote. They can be anywhere in the world, and I don't care as long as they're good at what they do. You don't have that luxury. So the more gates that you put up, the less that you're going to have through, and it's probably going to hurt the business in the long run. And so I get it. And so taking some of this, like, well, maybe I don't want to do the video with the secret passphrase. Cool. Do a video with you talking about your core values. Because what's going to happen is people are going to resonate with that more. Like, oh, there's a hiring process. I can actually do a video with my core values. Man, this business must be a nice place to work. Maybe I would want to relocate from somewhere else to come work here or commute or do whatever, because you've created this place where people want to come work at by way of your hiring process and putting your core values out there, right? So that's what I would pivot. And then the second one in terms of the Latin American market. So I do all my hiring on Indeed. There's some countries where you can't hire on Indeed, countrywide. It's based off of city. So Colombia is a good example of that. I can't go and target all of Colombia. I can target just the cities. So I'll go to LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, you can target the entire country as well. And then what we do on LinkedIn is we push it to an external URL, not like an external link for there. In Indeed, I actually don't respond to any of the messages on Indeed. I hate it. It's stupid. It's annoying. People speed reply, and it's the worst. It's like the absolute worst. So what do I do in my Indeed profile? I put note, we don't hire off of Indeed. We only hire from our hiring portal link. I put that 3 to 4 times in the application so they read it. And then I set up the automated response on Indeed to say, note, we don't respond to applications on Indeed, only through our hiring portal link. And some people are like, you guys are spammers collecting information. I don't even respond to it. I literally don't. I don't respond to a single person on Indeed. Although sometimes when people come in and they're really angry and they're dropping like F-bombs and I'm like, I'm bored. I'm like, you know what, I'll go in, let's have some fun with the person a little bit, right? But most times I just ignore it. But it's hilarious watching some of the things that people apply with, and like, you're trying to get a job and you're telling the hiring manager to pound sand. Like, no, that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And so that's how I do it in Latin America. I also have a recruiting background myself, and I've done a lot of recruiting in the past. If you're like, well, I don't really know. Maybe I don't trust Latin America. I don't trust the people that are down there. Somebody asked me that a little while ago. How do you trust the people that aren't in North America? I'm like, the same that I would trust a person in North America, right? Because people get the stereotype too, right? Of like, oh, they're down there, they're shady and whatever, and corruption, yada, yada. Well, you know what? There's corruption here too, right? Like I'm from communist Canada. We have corruption up there too, okay? Don't know that I'm from Calgary, which is straight north of Montana. So, but I do most of my stuff most of my clients are in the US. But that's the part of how they do that. But there's also, and I'll come back to you in a second. There's also great companies. So the guy that popped in and said, hi, John Haneo. Yeah, Go Staffy. And like, they do a lot of staffing for agencies and that. But I'm sure he would have resources as well. They hire strictly in Colombia, I think in Medellin, because his wife is from Colombia and they're like down in Miami. And so he goes down there quite a bit. They have a physical office where his team actually comes into the office down there, works remotely for the clients, but they're in that office. And so he technically hires them, outsources them to you, and you pay him, and then he has his markup on there. I just generally don't go to hiring agencies because I know how to do it myself, and I don't want to pay their markup because I know how to do it. But if you don't know how to do it, it's a great leg up to dip your toe in that, but it would be for remote work. Now, in your case, you might want to look to say, okay, well, and I don't know the rules and legalities around this. I just know in the medical system in Canada, they actually bring a lot of people from South Africa in for doctors in rural towns. They've got to sign a 5-year agreement. They've got to live there. They've got to work there for 5 years. After that agreement is done, they can feel free to go elsewhere on that. So if that's something as a resource for what you guys do, that might be beneficial to help with staffing in your area. It's just, you're going to have that turnover every 5 years. I don't know if that's something that you guys have. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you name it. Yeah, and that's just their agreement, and then the doctors can go wherever, because rural doctors in Canada are really tough to come by. To going out to the remote areas. Like, I grew up in a town of 5,000, 6,000 people. Our nearest center was 2 hours away, and it was a 1.2 million population. And so like, doctors didn't want to go to work in a town of 5,000 to 6,000 people. So and some of them stayed because they put in roots and they actually really liked the community and wanted to be there, and some of them moved on. So, you have a point?
I was just going to say, mine's one for he has a beauty therapist.
And all of her people she hires from the Philippines. Like, what you're looking for, they hire them. And like 10 and 12 up now,
Yep.
would anything from their level. They,
Yep.
They're really good. And they force them to go through Tony Robbins. Hours, right?
That's good.
They told me, but they're just.
Yep. 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 And that's what this, yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And you can make the video optional, but I'd still run the playbook of the video and the core values and talking about that in the very beginning, because it's to his point, it's going to be long-term. The one caveat, if anybody is like Philippines, we used to do a lot of our hiring in the Philippines. Great people, very checklist thinkers. They don't think laterally. There's something called the power distance index. I'm not going to get into that like in a whole deep dive today, but they have an authority play. And so they respect the hierarchy and authority. So if you tell somebody from the Philippines, hey, I want you to go fix A, B, and C, like, cool, they're going to go fix A, B, and C. But if you see, the other 3 more things wrong, they're not going to fix it because the boss only told me to fix those 3 things. Who am I to question his authority? And they're not going to do it. They don't have that lateral thinking ability just because of the power distance index. That's a cultural thing. Where I find in Latin America, and this is why we moved all of our hiring there, is that they actually will like, oh, I got 1, 2, and 3. Oh, I noticed 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, and I just went and fixed it for you. You're welcome. Because they think a little bit more in line, but also time zones, right? Time zones was the other thing. We found that our Filipinos, because we're having them, it's like a 12 to 18 hour time zone. And so they were going to bed, they're finishing work at like 3, 4 in the morning. Yeah, you know what? Some people are built for that. After a certain amount of time, though, they get burnt out because like one of our video editors, she's like, I'm tired of going to bed at 2, 3 in the morning. I would much rather be done my day at 4 in the afternoon. And so she found another job that allows her to work daytime, her time. Completely fair. And so it's just those like little nuances as well. And but like, yeah, if you're 24/7, 100%, because then you could technically do like Latin America during the day and Filipinos at night, and it's daytime for both parties. And so there's different ways around and different ways to be able to cut that pie up. So, but great point.
Oh. One of the words of one is stuff more up Filipino. I don't know that.
Nice. Are your staff here or no? Or are you like, did you bring some of your staff over? Or is it just like a virtual conversation? Yeah. No, Phil. Yeah, yep. That's fine. I love those things to be able to set. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You. Thought negative thought.
They love their film. They love their karaoke there. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
My first question is, rolling all of the time, did you people that are applying and interviewing currently, or is it all?
Only when I have a specific opening. However, on our website, let me pull this up and I'll bring this over. I just type it on here because it's tough for me to look over on that other one. I leave our careers section open, and people can apply at any point in time to it if this is going to load and work. There we go. So we have, I'm actually logged into Elementor here apparently. So where's my log out? I'm just going to log out so you get the full screen. Of course. Oh, careers. And so we have our careers section. It's very big with my face on there. So this is like the careers page. We don't run people to this page. This just exists for when people are like, if they want to come find our website or whatever, they can see it. They can see where we're at here. So you can expect, asking our team, start saving on ads. Obviously we have that, but then we put our core values right here. And just we don't put the whole sentences on them. And so if people do find us naturally through this, and then we just leave these open. So we have web development, SEO, Google Ads, social media, sales, client success, content, and graphics. So those are the ones we just leave open all the time. If I get a good application for somebody that happens to come through like this, and we get the odd ones here and there, then I'll have a conversation with that person and say, hey, we're not hiring right now, but next time we go and look to be hired, we can reach out and have a conversation. And so they can let's just take our client success specialist. So it actually redirects to a Go High Level page. And this is the page that hasn't, again, feel free to go to the careers page on our website and click through and steal this if you want. I like to believe in R&D, rob and duplicate from people. So this isn't just my idea. This is stolen from like 5 to 6 different people that run this. But then as you can see, they come down and then this is this video, like who we are, click to play to find out. And it says, watch this first. Like it's literally pretty evident. So like even here, after you watch the video, click the arrow to see if you're interested. And it's a 2-minute and 48-second video. That's just, it's me talking on screen. I don't like that video. I got to redo it. But you can, it's on my list of things that I need to redo. But you can see that I talk for 2 minutes and 48 seconds. It's the same video on every single page. Okay. And that's just the part of it. And then they can go through their questionnaire, like it's the application. I'm not, or you can fill this out. Yep. My whole hiring funnel is on high level. And then I have auto declines are all based off of logic inside the surveys, and like different pages that they go through. So like, it's all Go High Level. It's all built ourselves. And so, because again, I came from the recruiting background and I built this because I did all of our interviews and I'm back doing our interviews again. But that's how we ended up doing is just Go High Level. So, and if anybody wants a snapshot of how we do it, I'll send it to you. I'm an abundance mindset, so just reach out via the content. Hey Thad, send me one of your funnels for like an EI hiring or whatever, executive assistant. I'll send it to you. I don't have any issues. So cool. All right. Talked about those guys. All right. How do you fire against your core values? Okay, we've talked about hiring against your core values. Well, how do you fire against your core values? And I think, look, firing people is probably one of the worst things that we have to do as an owner, as a manager, is actually terminate somebody from your organization. Why is it the worst thing you have to do? Because their livelihood depends on your work, right? Don't make the mistakes that I've done. And I just did this. I hired somebody 2 weeks in. I knew he wasn't going to be a good fit. I kept around for 90 days. And my mentor, actually Vinny Fisher, he asked me, he's like, Dad, how come you kept him around for like 2.5 months? I'm like, oh, I felt bad for the guy. Wanted to give him some money. And then I decided to terminate him after 90 days, Christmas, holidays, all that stuff. He's like, well, I'll try not to do that again. But if you want to be generous with your money, then be generous with your money. And it was just one of those scenarios, right? It actually worked out because we ended up getting a good salesperson that starts next week as a result of it. But it's that one that I dread the worst of having to fire somebody. However, if we do these first things the right way, generally this doesn't become an issue. Okay. Sometimes it does, sure. They could be a great person for 2 years and then all of a sudden whatever happens. Now there's obviously performance improvement plans. You want to try to get them back on track. We're a fan of once we have somebody in the organization, we're going to work through them with a GWC Analyzer, which I'll talk about in a second. To be able to make sure that we give them all the resources possible to succeed in our business. Because if we've given them all the resources possible to succeed, we've helped them try to succeed as much as we possibly can. Now, when it comes to this part here, this word of firing somebody, it's not as bad. It doesn't hurt as much because we've done everything we possibly can. Right? They've chosen to get fired. We haven't fired them. Okay. So how do you do it? GWC Analyzer. Hire slow, fire fast. But this is the GWC Analyzer. So there's a link to get a copy of this. It's on Excel. And again, I'll give you the actual QR code to scan to get this as well at the end. So what do we do here? Well, this is the EOS principle, the EOS philosophy. So we rate everybody, core values, do what's right now, what's easy, committed to excellence, being resourceful, purpose-driven, fail forward. We also have this unicorn value. We're actually getting rid of this from our ratings on this. We have this hungry, hustle, humble model that we came up with when we first started. Sounds cool, looks cool, still gonna keep it, just not gonna rate our team on it anymore. Okay, so we're getting rid of that as of our next round. We do this biannually. My previous ops manager put it in as quarterly. Our team hated it quarterly, so we're going back to biannually. And so we do this rating our team. And so we do pluses, plus, minus, or a minus. So you see up here, plus for most of the time, plus minus for some of the time, minus for rarely. And we want to see how people live our core values. Okay. We also have, as you see, like this, they self do this themselves, right? They rate themselves. We've since moved this to Google Forms, by the way. And so like Google Forms, we have, they can put their name in there, and then they have their rating, and then they explain why they wrote that. That was the missing piece from these. For me to do the Google Forms is a bit cumbersome and complicated. So I'm giving you this framework. If you want to keep it in Excel, cool. If you want to move it to Google Forms, cool. If you want to do something else with it and vibe code it with Claude Code, cool. In fact, that probably gave me an idea that I might just tell my team, hey, why don't we just vibe code this and do it with Claude Cowork. But anyways, they rate themselves because we want to see their self-assessment, okay? And then we're going to have their peers rate them. Only peers that matter, right? In an organization like, the size of yours, probably doesn't make sense for them to rate everybody because they have zero interactions with half the staff, right? Smaller organizations like ours, 11, 12 people, smaller organizations like yours where everybody connects and everybody has conversations with each other, good opportunity to have others rate the other people.
Everyone sees what other people have said, or
if they want. So, yeah, and so we want to we want to know, again, have the conversation, right? And if they want to see it, if they want to make it anonymous, cool, that's fine. We as leaders see the names of the information of what their peers wrote, but that's an organizational decision. If you want to say, hey, I see it as a leader, but your team doesn't see how you rated that person. In fact, that's probably a better way to do that, because now you're probably going to get more honest feedback versus, oh, my peers are going to see this. Well, maybe I don't want to write this thing about that person because then I'm going to find out, and then it's going to make it awkward and it's going to be conflict around it. The only reason we track their names is because we want to be able to know who did it and who didn't do it, right? And then you can just redact those when you have the biannual review of these. So we sit down with all of our team members and we review these biannually with all of the feedback that everybody has given them, right? Because how are we going to fail forward as an organization if we don't know the parts where we can fail forward from? Okay, how can we be committed to excellent if we don't know where we need to actually be excellent in? And so that's the part of that. And so I would redact the names and you go through and rate this. This average is just like calculating off of like the reviewers, and it was just an older one. Now the other one that we like to do, this is like the difference, right? So this is one of them, and then this is another one. This is actually my team rating it, but now this gives you focal points for you to focus on as the lead. I'd actually have your team rate you too, by the way. And I would have your team do that anonymously. I wouldn't even have their names on that. But if you want as a leader to really know where you're good at and where you're not good at, ask your team for that feedback. That last 10% of honesty that Dr. Attaway talked about, right? It's a scary endeavor. I tell you, it is scary when you have your team anonymously give you feedback as a leader. Sure.
I actually kind of had this opportunity here at a really good time, because one of the biggest things that we're struggling with, kind of a difficult situation, because where I feel like the culture is, I'm hiring. I'm not a manager. I have managers underneath of me, but I also have an owner.
Yep.
So we recently, Bobby and Vinci, we came together. We were like, okay, we got to figure out what the heck is going on. Maybe it's us. Like, maybe we're with God.
Yep.
We sent out questionnaires, not with the Google form, like questionnaire. Real feedback.
Well, yeah.
Did have help me generate.
Yeah.
Now, just kind of scratching my head. of all of our employees, so we have. They worked. It was 9. Then it was
Mm-hmm.
0. It was
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks, but not committed it. They had days, not everyone. And then out I think we got like 6 questions that had like a rating scale. Quick answer, but anything that was open, even if they answered negatively when we were asking for how that we're you're asking them for the feedback, right? And you know what they would be trusting enough to give it, like you don't know we hear the talk. The reason why we did all of this is because the culture of talking about and what they're mad about.
Yep.
But then when we're like, okay, no, really be very, very honest with us, and then we get tricky. What am I doing? What am we doing wrong? Yeah.
It sounds like you might actually have like a little bit of toxicity in the culture, and people aren't willing to. And so is the owner, so like with this, as you said, insurance agency, right? So like you're talking like selling insurance or digital marketing for insurance agents. Okay. And so everybody's in the office. Yep. Sure. Okay. How involved is the owner in the day-to-day of the business?
Sure, it's not.
Okay. At that size of a business, that's really difficult, in my opinion. Like I'm in that right now. Like 2025, I call it my year adrift, where I bought a business partner out. I thought I was mentally good. Turned out that for 9 months, I actually wasn't. And it hit in like February, March last year, and I was checked out of the business. I went through the motions. Yeah. At that size, yeah, it's going to be really tough for that, because he's the one that, or she is the one that's going to really be that mover and the needle mover for that, because at that size, they really need to see that owner being there and present, in my opinion, and even if it's not there 40 hours a week or 35 hours or however long the staff is there, but at least there and present in doing and moving something forward in some small medium of being present. And that's going to help that out. But then also going back to the very first one is, what are the core values? Do people live them? Do people breathe them? Do you guys talk about them? Like the owner has to almost set that direction. And if the owner isn't at that size able to be there, then a culture steward, which would be yourself, would be the one that has to then set that direction on behalf of the owner. It's going to be is it impossible to do with that size of business with the owner not in there? No. It's possible. It's just going to take a lot more legwork to be able to go back to this very beginning and walk through this whole process to be able to get people to buy into these core values. And so if you have, and then I'll talk about the vivid vision in a second. That's probably going to be the secondary piece to that, is to be able to have those in there, but then having the one-on-one conversation. And that's going to be on you to say, hey, maybe you just do it one-on-one. And to the appreciation on work part, people don't necessarily want the quality time, all of that, but you might get a lot of lifting if you can have that conversation with them one-on-one. One of the exercises that I'm doing right now as a result of being checked out for like 9 months, 12 months, is actually going back into getting to know my team. And I know that I don't want quality time, but I've booked an hour slot once a week for the next 12 weeks with every single team member. And what am I doing? I'm asking about their life. I'm asking about their goals. I'm asking about their dreams. Hey, what do you want? What are you doing? Like, what's happening in life? Like, I found out that my project manager's mom passed away when she was like 7. I didn't know that. Just by having this conversation, that their apartment is leaking water like every week and they need to move, but they don't own any of their furniture inside their house because they're renting it. Well, I didn't know that, right? And so there's these things that got uncovered in this hour-long meeting that I'm like, oh. And then I was vulnerable too. Like, I shared some stuff happening in my life. Like, I got 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 4.5-year-old, a wife, a dog, and 11 employees. Like, and she's like, I don't even want that stress of like thinking about payroll. Like payroll's on me. And she's like, she wants to run a business, but she's like, I don't think maybe I want to because of the stress that like you have with payroll. And so getting real honest and vulnerable with them. People don't know how much people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And so that would be the other piece that I would look at, and just try to have that one-on-one conversation. But don't do it in that hour. Like, take everybody out for lunch. Not like one-on-one, obviously, right? And have that conversation. And then after you've done that, then re-ask those questions. That would be my opinion, because you're in person.
Word and it does he not. Wow. Dozens of words. It's always funny with the order you use that units worth all of.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we getting worse after working with you order? How do you deal with the third party thing? Tell them it's anonymous. Figure out the health environments. People aren't really sure how the language like you're saying not work or quit more. You
Correct.
yeah, but being in the environment, people aren't told now who you're right.
Well, they're scared, right? They're like, what if I lose my job, right? Because I said something. Yeah.
For real, like, being honest, like, honest is too honest and what
Sure.
profession. I'm like, not a
So here's what we did, and so we had an issue with our team not wanting to like admit something that they did, right? Because I thought I might lose my job, and so one of the examples, we had one of our team members forgot to turn off Bing ads for a client, or she thought she did, and then the next day the automation turned them back on. Well, he ended up running $3,000 in charges on this client's Bing ads, and she came to me and she's like, she was scared. She thought she was going to get fired because of this automation. This happened. I'm like, no, like that. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. What's your solution that you want to put in place so this doesn't happen again? She's like, okay, well, then she came up with a solution. She's like, this is my solution. I'm like, perfect. Let's turn this into an SOP and let's make sure we don't run this again. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. She's like, I thought I was going to lose my job. I'm like, no, but, and then here's what I got vulnerable with. I'm like, can I share this with the rest of the team? She's like, yeah, absolutely. So what do I do on the weekly team kickoff call? I use it as an example to say, hey, this is what happened. Here's what the solution is. Guess what? The person still works here, right? I didn't say that last part. That's just me talking to you guys, right? But what happens is if you have that one or two confidants in the business, and you've probably already thought about this when I say this, okay, do you have one or two or three people that you think would give you honest feedback right now? Cool. Those are your first people that you go do and sit down with and have the conversation. At the end of the conversation, if they give you feedback, you say, hey, can I use this as an example so the rest of the people aren't scared by this conversation? And then you talk that example out loud. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And now people see this pattern of, oh, well, I was able to give feedback, or that person was able to give feedback. They still work here. Cool, this is a safe place now to be able to openly provide that feedback. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
we were in fact in different offices that are staffed on. Or in one of our things, we have significantly less than ours. And that already kind of dropped, I guess, between the team. There's like
Party.
like guys were the starting people.
Yeah. Well, right? How often do you take? Well, probably location would be my guess for like insurance, and because they have like zip codes that they can work in. So maybe that's why. Yeah.
On our first shot, and we were flyers. I have to be careful about the call. There's already like from one year. So we have sales members and like some. After our survey and everything, I implemented a competition through the end of where I kind of integrated because I know them and I know where I'm seeing the issues. I know the people that don't talk and that don't maybe necessarily normally get along or communicate. Well, there is a competition going on now that's mixing. It's also not random. Like I kind of chose who are on the teams together. Yeah. So half of their team might be at the other, but they're still have to collaborate and help each other out, put together, and trying to push growth in areas where right now they're not really focused on. That going to help a little bit, but like for like a week.
When's the last time you took them out for like pizza or Top Golf, or depending on where your location is, beers? I know that you can't really go over alcohol here, so
You are really doing the fun.
sure.
That's one thing that I'm really great about.
Yep.
Fun thing. We're full staff, we celebrate the individual big in the office. It's like I just keep running in these bad cultures. Now, I will tell you straight up, I think that where we go wrong starts at hiring. It truly does. We don't hire the core guys. Yeah.
Are they good core values though?
But to be honest, I wouldn't know what they are. Like, we have core values in it.
Right, but nobody knows them, right? Yep.
I'm expecting from
Sure.
kind of similar to what she was saying. We get in a position where when we have to hire, it's because someone just left and now
Yeah.
have the numbers. We got to get somebody.
Yep.
Maybe we have one.
And sometimes you hire fast and it's the wrong person. Yeah, I get it. So the other part, I mean, depending on your legalities, like if you have the 90-day probation period, you leave the posting up too. Find somebody else, well then maybe you exercise that. Again, that's not necessarily one that I would personally like, but if you're in a pool in an area where you don't have as big of a talent pool, you're kind of limited on some of that, and so it might be worthwhile for that. So in the interest of time, I am going to go on to the Vivid Vision stuff because I do want to cover that very briefly. I know you had a quick point to make, but we just got about 10 minutes left, so I want to rip through that really quickly. So we already talked about that. So Vivid Vision, have you defined where you're going as a business? Is your purpose mapped out? Have you shared those with your team? And is your vision repeated often? And so this is our Vivid Vision. And so we know that it's December 31st, 2030. We're ending our best year in our company's history. We're riding a major high. We're helping 5,560 people directly and indirectly, and have 158 active clients, 47 virtual team members, a 95% employee retention rate, and 98% client satisfaction rate. I didn't even need to read that off the screen. I know the numbers ingrained in my brain. Why? Because I tell our team this every Monday. We've rated how we rate our Vivid Vision quarterly, and we've constantly scored at the bottom. Our team never knows it, but we've put this in place, and we talk about it on every Monday kickoff call. At the end of every Monday, I talk something about our core values or Vivid Vision, right? Has anybody ever mapped out something like this in this great of detail in 5 years from now, where your business is going to look like? Right? You have, right? Now, have you? So the problem that I had with a lot of 5-year visions is that they talk about money, they talk about revenue, they talk about net profit. Guess what those are good for? Leadership and ownership. Guess who doesn't care about revenue and profit? Your team members. Even worse, if your team members aren't from North America and you start talking about a 20% margin on a $10 million per year business, they're going to see dollar signs of $2 million. They can't fathom it. They just can't. The money is just not equal for them. Okay. And even I would probably argue most employees, 95% of employees, also don't care about how much money that you're going to make as an owner. They don't. What can they care about? 5,560 people directly and indirectly. Wow, that's a powerful number. If anybody's wondering how we got that, we take 158 active clients. We took the average size of, I think, 15 employees in our client count, because there were our ideal customer avatars, home service businesses doing $3 to $5 million per year in revenue, wanting to grow to 7 to 10. That's our ideal customer avatar. So we know that in that 5 million range, they've got about 15 employees. We then took our virtual team members, added that total number together, and that's how many people directly and indirectly. We times it by 2.3, because that's how many average people are in a household in North America. It's a weird number, don't know why. It's 2.3, it's what it is. And that's how we came up with 5,560 people directly and indirectly. Because if our marketing doesn't work, guess what our clients can't do? They can't grow. If they can't grow, they can't hire more people. If they can't hire more people, we can't directly and indirectly impact more people. I also tell our people the single-handed number that I care about on screen is this. Our employee retention rate's 95 and change right now. Our voluntary retention rate is like 99%. Our involuntary retention rate, that's AKA firing people, is lower than 95%, because we went through a string of having to replace people that weren't the right cultural fit because we did a poor job of hiring them in the first place. That's what this is. 98% client satisfaction. And so our churn in our organization is, we have about a 3.5-4% churn rate out of our organization of clients annually. Yeah. So we keep 96% of our client. And so why I say this matters is because if my team is happy, they're engaged, they like coming to work, they like doing what they do, guess what they naturally do to the clients? They do better work. Their rankings shoot up number 1 on the map pack. They get better Google Ads results. Their ROI is going through the roof. Then they tell their friends, well, I can then hire more. Then we get more clients coming, get more inbound, our marketing becomes stronger. And then I get to hire more people, which then I get to have retention more people. And it becomes a circle, right?
My client.
Yep.
Never. That's a big.
Yeah. Sorry, what did you say your industry was again? Commercial janitorial, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or that.
Yep.
It's actually an easier, right? So look.
Yep.
You know, kind of.
Yeah.
You're one.
Yep.
A little bit of a lot.
Yep. Yeah, and we look at all of them together inclusively. The reason I asked that is like in the digital marketing agency world, the toughest job, in my opinion, is an account manager, because they have to play marketing strategist, they have to play business owner, they have to play team member, they have to play all these different hats to be a project manager, to be able to do it the right way. The most frustrating thing of companies hiring a digital marketing company is the fact that they have a new account manager every 3 months. Same to probably with yours, right? So if I can get account managers that want to stay, man, that's powerful. Like I was reading a post today in one of the Facebook groups about a competitor of mine, and this guy was saying he's on his 6th account manager in a year for his business. Like, how is there continuity in marketing if he has to go through that constantly, right? Sure.
They're here for a turn an increase in actually getting bonus.
Yes. Yep. And it's I'm not saying that's a bad metric to do. Like I have a 5-year revenue and net profit goal. I just don't share it with the team. I share it with my leadership circle, and that's it, because like the team just doesn't care. But to your point with the bonuses, yeah, you'd have to track that, and they'd have to know that, because the territory managers are going to be in tune to that. But do you think the rest of the people care about that? Probably not, unless they're tied to that number as well. Like we have a company-wide bonus based off of client retention rate. So if we're above 97% for a quarter, and it's a sliding scale every 0.1% from 97 all the way to 100 for a quarterly basis, they get a percentage of a pool as a team company-wide bonus. So that's why we're focused on that as a whole, because for me in an agency world, I mean, sorry, not everybody swears, I'm a potty mouth. So it's actually the first swear I'm surprised I made it an hour and a half before saying shit. Thank you. So I've got a potty mouth. I have to try to catch that when I'm talking, but I forgot the point that I was going down on that. Anyways, the retention rate, good metric. So The other one is our passion and our cause. And so this is your niche. And if you don't have one of these mapped out as well, I would look to map this out. And so we focus on people first. Our niche just happens to be home service marketing and strategy. Okay. We've kind of flipped this a little bit just because we used to be in the unconventional thinking. One of the words we used to have was fuck conventional. We want to be unconventional. We've removed a lot of the swearing from a lot of our facing metrics on that for obvious inherent reasons. Previous business partner liked having that in. I never liked having that in, and so now we're just removing it, even though I am a potty mouth myself. But we put our niche down here. It's very broad. Most people put their niche first and then their cause second, but I just care about people. That's it. I care about my people. Okay. The other part is with this vivid vision is, have you shared it? Right? Do you share that with your team? And I'll wrap up in 2 minutes here. How often do you repeat it? Obviously, random conversations, one-on-ones, weekly team meetings, quarterly state of the company. Find your cadence on when and how often you can repeat it. At minimum, weekly. The average person needs to hear something 7 times before they remember it. 7 times. I would probably even say in today's day and age with all the stuff that we're throwing at us, 17 to 19 times for most instances. So if you don't repeat this, like, yeah. I'm not going to talk about office perks. These are just fun things like what do you offer? Unlimited part-time paid time off, flexible schedule, fun environment, physical office. I'm going to do one caveat on unlimited paid time off. We have unlimited paid time off in our organization. We have no limit on the amount of vacation that somebody can take. You know what the numbers say? They take about the same or less vacation as somebody with like a 3 weeks or 4 weeks vacation time. It was a scary thing when we moved to this, but I knew that from the very beginning, I wanted to build an organization that people could take as much time off as they want. The caveat is they need to make a plan for when they're off so their team members do the work. So now it's a checks and balance. You know, the most that we've ever had somebody take off is 3 weeks. In one of those weeks, they were available with their phone if they had any questions. The other 2, they were completely off the grid. Happened twice. Most people are like 2 weeks at a time. We also shut down over Christmas, like national holidays, all this good stuff, because people want, like, think about the age of a lot of the employees. The younger the employee, the more this becomes the relevant thing. Okay. Not every organization, by the way, can do unlimited paid time off. I get it. There's nuances, there's circumstances and around it. So they don't have any vacation until day 91. So day 1, they get 6 sick days and they get 11 national holidays off of their choosing, because we're worldwide, and so every place has different norms and days off. And then day 91, unlimited vacation starts right then and there. I've always hated having like 2 or 3 weeks vacation my entire life, because I'm like, who are you to tell me how long a vacation I need or take? I'm going to work regardless. So I just give my team everything. So you want to repeat these as much as you possibly can. One action item is ask your team to send you why they love working here. You'd be curious to see what you're going to get for your responses. That may be good things to focus on for your core values. I did it. It was a great exercise for it. Of course, really quickly, if you have questions, my contact info, I'll give you the QR code at the end. You'll get all this stuff, okay? So my contact info. Obviously we do digital marketing. I'm going to zoom over this because we do home service stuff, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roof and garage doors. We do an AI first approach, transparent results. You own all your accounts, see real ROI data. We tie into a company called Searchlight, which shows return on ad spend for organic and for paid channels, because we believe in that transparency part of things. Yeah, we speak the language of the home services. I'm going to go over this. If you want to have a conversation about your website, your marketing, or whatever, feel free to reach out. And of course, if you want to steal my stuff, where are we here? There we go. Scan that guy. Done? Oh, stake my stuff. Ah, that's funny. Stake my stuff. All right. You know what? I wonder if this will... No, I don't. Is it going to update? I updated it on my, I have another one here. It's not going to update over there, but stake my stuff. I was typing this. I'm like, oh, you know what? I forgot a QR code. So last night I was putting this together. Yes, there's a form. Yes, I'm going to ask for your information. But after that, you're going to get all the stuff. It's free. It's yours. Cool.